At 6 a.m. sharp on a Tuesday, the federal police, the FBI, and Interpol busted through my door. I was jolted awake by the cold steel of a rifle barrel pressed against my face. They confiscated everything, my laptops, phones, and every single encrypted drive. The lead detective offered me a deal, my freedom in exchange for the keys to a wallet holding millions in Bitcoin. I didn't say a word. My story doesn't begin with that raid. It started much earlier. And today, I'll show you why the ultimate vulnerability in global security isn't a billion-dollar firewall. It's the human element.
When I was 16, I lived in a modest neighborhood in upstate Sao Paulo, sharing a bedroom with my younger brother. My mom worked as a supermarket cashier, and our household income barely scratched 4,000 reais. I had this second-hand laptop with a dead pixel in the corner of the screen and a charger held together by electrical tape, but it had Wi-Fi. One day, my neighbor's network was left open, and I started digging through underground forums to figure out how to crack the password. When I finally connected, it was the first time I ever crossed a line I shouldn't have. The feeling was a small but entirely real taste of power. I went from the neighbor's Wi-Fi to the dark web. I learned social engineering and started creating fake pages identical to those of banks to steal logins. At 17, I bought batches of 1,000 credit cards from foreigners for 2,000 reals and resold iPhones and notebooks. I started earning 15,000 reals a month without leaving my room. To my parents, I said I was a freelance programmer, but I wanted to scale. At 18, I set up an illegal call center in a garage with 10 guys from my neighborhood pulling Pix scams. They called pretending to be bank managers. We were making 50,000 reals a week, but retail got tiring. I wanted the wholesale. I developed a ransomware virus and sent an infected email to 500 employees of a large private hospital. Only one clicked. Within minutes, the entire system collapsed. Medical records disappeared. Surgeries were canceled. Then the message appeared on every screen. 5 Bitcoins within 48 hours. They paid. I received 500,000 reals from the sofa of my apartment while drinking coffee, without ever touching anyone. That was the moment I became a ghost. I only operated through public networks, inside libraries and shopping malls. And after every major operation, I destroyed my computers with a hammer and fire. I drove a Corolla and never showed off, because I learned something important. What brings down a hacker isn't the code, it's the attention. I started hacking international targets, including a database with information on 5 million Americans, which attracted the National Security Agency. But it wasn't a code that destroyed me. It was that call center I set up when I was 18. One of the boys was arrested for a minor crime, and to save himself, he gave them my real name. I was thrown into the federal maximum security prison of Catanduvas, pure concrete. Without a keyboard, without the internet, without a screen. My fingers itched, and I spent the nights programming in my mind, in complete darkness. The police offered me freedom in exchange for my Bitcoin password. I refused. When I got out of prison almost 3 years later, I rented a simple apartment, bought a laptop, and typed in the password I had memorized. The millions were still there, untouched, and Bitcoin had appreciated. But while I was having my coffee, anonymous and a millionaire, I knew one thing. this very second, a 16-year-old boy in a simple neighborhood is discovering a forbidden form, certain that the computer can give him what life didn't. The cycle doesn't stop.